For what feels like forever, the entire crypto conversation has been kind of trapped in a loop, right? It's all about the price. Is it up? Is it down? But what if we've all been looking at the wrong numbers? Today, we're going to look at things through a powerful new lens, one that pretty much ignores the price charts and focuses on something way more fundamental: real-world use.
I mean, this is the question, isn't it? It just cuts right through all the noise. Let's forget the charts, forget the hype, just for a second. What do these networks actually do? Is anyone anywhere really paying to use them for a real service? Well, that's exactly what we're going to figure out.
And this slide, this really sums up the problem perfectly. You've got this whole world of price and hype on one side. It's all just narratives, speculation, and charts that go up and down. But on the other side, you've got real network work. We're talking actual demand, measurable usage, things people are willing to pay for. The goal here is to build a solid bridge from all that hype over to reality.
So how do we build that bridge? We need a system, right? A simple framework we can use on any crypto asset to see if its value is actually tied to something real. And luckily for us, the analysis we're digging into today gives us the perfect tool for the job.
And here it is. It's just 3 questions, but trust me, they are incredibly powerful. First, if this network just vanished overnight, what would actually break? Who would even notice? Second, who's the customer? Who is actually pulling out their wallet and paying for this service? And third, and this one is the real kicker, does the network's token actually capture any of that value?
Yeah, that third question leads us straight to this critical idea: token market fit. Now, this is so important. We're not just asking if the network itself is useful. We're asking if the token's value is directly connected to that usefulness. In other words, if more people use the network, does that automatically create more demand for the token? Or is the token really just for other stuff, like voting on proposals?
And the source material breaks this down into 3 types, using some really great analogies. A direct fit, that's like gasoline for an engine. The network literally cannot run without it. An indirect fit is more like a shareholder voting certificate. It gives you a say in what happens, sure, but it doesn't actually power the machine. And a hybrid model, well, you guessed it, it's a little bit of both.
Okay, so that's the theory, but how does it hold up in the real world? Let's put this framework to the test. We're going to run 3 very different, very well-known crypto assets through this utility lens, and I think the results might actually surprise you.
All right, let's start with the OG, Bitcoin. Everybody has an opinion on it, but let's just set all that aside for a minute and look at it purely through our new utility framework.
So running it through our test, what does it do? At its absolute core, it is a base layer for settlement. The product isn't about making fast payments. It's about extreme survivability and trust. And its token market fit? It's a clear, direct fit. You absolutely need BTC to pay transaction fees and to keep the whole network secure. It is the gasoline for this engine.
But here's the gotcha moment, the really important nuance. While the main Bitcoin network is built for ultra-secure settlement, actually using it to, buy a coffee is really an integration problem. That's what second layers are trying to fix. So you have to remember, the core product isn't cheap payments, it's bulletproof settlement.
Okay, next up, let's look at a completely different kind of beast, Arbitrum, a major layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum. Let's see how this one stacks up.
So what's Arbitrum's job? Pretty simple. It gives you a way to do cheaper, faster transactions on top of Ethereum. But here's where our framework gets really interesting. Its token market fit is indirect. And you might ask why? Well, it's because you pay transaction fees on Arbitrum in Ether, not in the ARB token. The ARB token's main job is governance.
And this is such a critical distinction to understand. The Arbitrum network could become massively successful, right? Handling millions of transactions a day. But that success doesn't automatically translate to demand for the ARB token. Its role is governance. It's that shareholder vote. It's not the gasoline. And this is a really common model you'll see with a lot of layer 2s.
Okay, for our last example, let's check out a middleware protocol, Chainlink. If you're not familiar, just think of middleware as the digital plumbing that connects blockchains to real-world data, like stock prices or sports scores.
Chainlink's main gig is providing super reliable data feeds. These are called oracles to various blockchains. And its token market fit is our first hybrid. See, the Link token is used directly to pay the node operators who provide all that data, but it's also used for other things, like network security through staking.
Now, the nuance here is that figuring out where the value goes can get a little fuzzy. It's not always a straight line from usage to token demand. And that means, for something like Chainlink, its real competitive advantage, its moat,
isn't some flashing marketing campaign. It's the thousands of integrations it has across the industry and the deep trust it has built over years. That is so much harder for a competitor to replicate.
So, we have our framework, and we've put it to the test. Now let's do something fun. Let's use this new utility lens to look to the future. Where are the biggest trends in actual real-world crypto usage headed?
Well, the analysis points to 5 key forces you've got to watch. First, stablecoins are becoming more and more like regulated internet dollars. Second, this huge L2 boom is making us ask some tough questions about where value actually ends up. Third, interoperability is growing up. It's moving from risky bridges to more of a standardized protocol. Fourth, DePIN, or decentralized physical infrastructure, is facing its biggest test. Can real demand replace those early token rewards? And finally, the ultimate resource, it is and probably always will be the developers building all this stuff.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? At the end of the day, we've basically armed you with a new way to see the entire crypto market, a lens that helps you prioritize function over fashion, substance over sizzle.
And this right here, this is the core idea. The really smart approach isn't just spreading your bets across different hype cycles or narratives. It's to think like a builder and diversify across the essential utility layers of the whole ecosystem. Maybe one asset for settlement, one for execution, one for data. That is a much more robust way of thinking about this space.
So I'll just leave you with this question. Now that you have this simple 3-step framework in your back pocket, which of the crypto stories you've been hearing about suddenly look a little bit different? What happens when you stop asking, what's the price going to do, and you start asking, what actually breaks if this thing disappears tomorrow?